Each year, millions of collisions occur on highways and railways across the United States. These 148 horrific accidents demonstrate the powerlessness of technology. Will you face the truth now or continue to turn a blind eye? Looking over at my neighbor's house, I saw the devastation. Their flock of 80 sheep, their only source of livelihood, had been crushed by the train, resulting in losses exceeding $25,000. The steel couldn't break, the animals didn't have time to escape. A cruel reality wiped out their livelihood in an instant. My friend's car was completely wrecked after being hit by a kangaroo at 65 miles per hour. Witnessing that scene, locals were shocked by the thin line between life and death. Will underpasses still be effective when climate change is pushing invasive species closer to residential areas? We must act now to save both sides. Also, please be careful when traveling in areas marked with wildlife warning signs. Can you believe that a camera captured a flock of birds colliding with a car? It seems harmless, but the sudden impact easily causes a loss of control, proving that danger is always lurking. Fortunately, no one was injured in this case, and it's worth noting that drivers need to be equipped with driver assistance systems and maintain a high level of concentration. In Florida, collisions are projected to reach a record high of over 400,000 in 2025, a sharp increase from 2023. Even the skies are no longer safe. Although collisions only account for 3% of the time, low-flying birds confronting trains create head-on impacts, shattering windshields and disabling sensor systems. To prevent this, installing sonar systems and radar to detect living objects is crucial for protecting the entire train cabin. Deer have excellent eyesight but are easily frozen. by high-intensity light, causing them to stand still on the tracks instead of running away. The conflict between survival instinct and the speed of machinery creates a haunting reality. What is the solution? Intervention with sensor technology, or the use of a safer green corridor? No one wanted this tragedy to happen, but it is clear evidence of a lack of vigilance. According to authorities, rural areas near forests record more than 2,000 train collisions every year, yet solutions remain elusive. This reality demands immediate action before the numbers continue to skyrocket. Leaving the railway tracks, an unbelievable scenario unfolds as the racetrack is invaded by moles. Where did they come from? And why did they appear at this particular moment? Top racers are unexpectedly hampered, and the organizers are stunned. The accident is no longer a simple clash of steel against steel, but a costly intersection between speed and the underworld. In rural Pennsylvania, train horns only further frighten and trap deer. They are most active at night, so drivers should proactively turn on their lights and slow down to protect themselves. Don't wait for barriers, learn safe avoidance techniques today.
Dog bitch.
It's ironic that our development has inadvertently become a condemnation of nature, but every driver can be a protector. Will you choose vigilance or let the statistics dictate your actions? Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss valuable survival lessons, and let's build a safer journey together. Whether wild or domestic, collisions between vehicles and animals are becoming a major road safety issue globally. The expansion of human settlements into natural environments and the practice of free-range grazing in many areas have increased the frequency of these accidents. Understanding the behavior of each animal and taking preventative measures is key to reducing the risk. Check out these animal vehicle collisions in action in this video. Deer are often seen at dusk, when low light reduces visibility for drivers. They usually forage near roads, where vegetation is easily accessible. During mating season, male deer become reckless, crossing busy roads without hesitation. The deer's instinct to freeze when startled, which is a defense mechanism against predators, becomes disastrous when faced with vehicles. In rural areas, free-range grazing has led to the appearance of cattle and buffalo on the road. Because of their large size, collisions with them can have serious consequences. At night or on curves with limited visibility, drivers often have no time to react. Authorities should encourage controlled grazing, build fences, and require close supervision of herders. Drivers should slow down and be more vigilant in areas with cattle. In mountainous areas, moose pose a significant hazard due to their size and weight. Collisions with them cause significant damage to vehicles and increase the risk of injury to drivers compared to deer. Moose move slowly, especially during mating season, increasing the force of impact. Install fencing, overpasses or underpasses in areas where moose are present, along with public awareness. Bears are large and fast and can cause serious accidents. They often come near roads to find food, especially in the spring after hibernation or in late summer when they are accumulating fat. Human encroachment on bear habitat, combined with the smell of food from garbage, causes them to appear closer to roads. Mother bears with cubs can become aggressive if they feel threatened. In desert and semi-desert areas, free-roaming camels are a potential hazard. Their large size and exceptional height create high collision points, causing serious damage. Work with nomadic communities to raise awareness, install clear warning signs and enforce strict herd management. The unpredictable behaviour of wild animals on the road can cause serious accidents. If you are driving on the road, take special care to reduce speed, use headlights, and stay alert in areas with wildlife warning signs.
Oh my God!
If you encounter a dangerous animal such as a tiger, lock your car doors and call a ranger immediately. Emperor penguins live in the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica, where all life is at stake. In search of food, they do not hesitate to jump from icebergs up to 50 feet high into the frigid sea. Even young, not yet fully grown, must learn to make these risky jumps to survive. Hesitation will leave them behind. Would you dare to face the moment when a mother wild boar helplessly watches her cubs being swept away by the Montana Falls at a speed of 20 feet per second? The camera recorded the 500 to 700 newtons of water that could not be stopped, but the cliff saved the herd. Nature is harsh, only waiting for luck to save them. On the cliffs of the Rockies, a horse slipped and plunged 200 feet into a terrifying moment in 2024. The sheer, merciless drop was ready to swallow the horse in an instant.
Opa.
But the miracle happened to this man. Fortunately, he was assisted by a passerby. Would you dare to set foot in that mortal world? A herd of deer leaping from a highway bridge in Iowa, captured on a dash cam in 2017, serves as a wake-up call. Urbanization, cold bridges and roaring cars have driven them into panic, turning their survival instinct into a fatal leap. When humans overexploit innocent creatures, they pay with their lives. Do you know where the cow is considered the most valuable asset? This source of his livelihood was being taken away by nature, so he did not hesitate to rush in to save it. Despite the man's best efforts, the mountain did not give way to the cow. Cattle grazing needs to be strictly controlled so that they do not stray. While observing a herd of elephants near the Sand River Gate in the Masai Mara, Kenya, working with our Elephant Partners Conservation Initiative, the elephants decided to walk down the Sand River. They managed to walk down the riverbank, some clearly enjoying doing so in a special way. It was considered that they had mastered nature. The woman was pulling a donkey loaded with goods through the most dangerous mountains of the Andes, where the donkey is considered the king of transportation. At the fateful moment, it lost its balance and plunged straight into the abyss. The outcome of this accident, whether the donkey will survive or not, is still something that no one dares to predict. I only knew that eagles were the kings of the sky, but this scene really shocked me. A golden eagle swooped down and grabbed a baby goat weighing about 15 pounds, while the female goat fought for her life with her horns. The eagle's immense strength, with a force of up to 440 psi, easily lifted its prey. According to research, they can carry objects weighing up to 40 pounds, more than enough to take down a goat. Mountain goats see confrontations as life or death battles. If they don't fight, they starve. The most delicious rewards lie on the treacherous slopes, and only the strongest goat can reach them. The tension is so intense that only one of them can win. Deer are known for their excellent balance on steep slopes, thanks to their powerful legs. However, when they fight for a mate, deer show their fierceness, so they do not dominate the slopes. And you know, nature is never forgiving. In my opinion, it is better to provide comfortable space for cows to rest, eat and milk in a controlled environment, protecting them from harsh weather elements, instead of using electric fences, which make grazing dairy cows stressful. This can affect the quality of milk. What is your opinion? Are these electric fences really just to keep livestock out? Or are they hiding a dark secret that could destroy an entire ecosystem? The world is reeling from the little-known fact that goats are now the top meat producers in the world. The booming goat industry has created a serious problem: how to control the goat herd. That is why electric fencing has become the only solution. But if you do not check your fence at least twice a month and risk using a poor quality fence, you will pay a heavy price. According to Stephen Herrero, a Canadian biologist, in the 1990s, bears were responsible for about 3 serious attacks on humans each year in the United States and Canada. So electric fences, if not properly managed, can increase the risk of attacks. When bears are repeatedly shocked or are denied access to natural food, they can become aggressive and seek out human settlement. Only South Africa requires an environmental impact assessment before fences are built. In many countries such as Kenya, Tanzania and Bhutan, fences are often installed haphazardly without clear planning, leading to negative impacts on elephant migration routes. So, do you know what happens when these attempts to avoid failure end up like this? Wire raccoons are a threat to California's power grid. They often move around at night to take advantage of cooler air, which helps regulate their body temperature and avoid overheating. However, this behaviour makes them vulnerable to electric fences, which are designed to deliver a minimum voltage of 2000 volts. That's enough to shock raccoons and keep them from entering. The fear of blackouts comes not just from unexpected interruptions, but also from the helplessness of squirrels, tiny pests that roam the dark in search of food, accidentally causing short circuits on America's power grid. These outages not only paralyze urban and rural life, from hospitals to factories, but also exacerbate environmental problems as electrical fires threaten local ecosystems. While many electric fence products are claimed to be safe, ensuring safety really depends on proper selection and installation. Some general guidelines include that the AC voltage should not exceed 1000 V. But why not use solid concrete fencing? Although electric fences are commonly used for large livestock, they are not an effective solution for poultry farming, especially free-range chickens.
Oh.
Chickens are capable of flying, so electric fences, even with a mild electrical impact, cannot prevent them from crossing. Wire fencing is a popular method because plastic and wire mesh are used to enclose the livestock area. Due to their enormous size, Komodo dragons are apex predators and dominate the ecosystems in which they live. Komodo dragons hunt and ambush prey including invertebrates, birds, and mammals. The Komodo dragon's pack hunting behaviour is a rare trait in the reptile world. Komodo dragon's diet consists primarily of Java shrimp, although they also consume large amounts of carrion. Komodo dragons have also occasionally attacked humans. Pheasant attacks on humans are rare, but do occur, usually when birds are defending territory or young, especially during the breeding season. Aggressive pheasants may exhibit chasing behaviour or breaking into houses. Although most pheasants are shy, some species, such as Reeves pheasant, can be more aggressive, and individuals may become habituated to humans, potentially leading to territorial behaviour, leading to attacks. It didn't stop there when an aggressive Muscovy duck attacked residents in a residential area in Cape Coral, Florida, chasing people off the street. This aggressive behaviour made people afraid to leave their homes, some even carrying sticks or brooms for protection. Although duck attacks are rare, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission can allow aggressive ducks to be relocated outside their natural habitat, this has caused a problem with overpopulation. It was from here that the Komodo dragon hunt began. Not to destroy it, but to protect people and livestock. Komodo dragon hunting is something that can only take place in Indonesia's Komodo Islands, where the heat from the ground and the smell of rotting flesh in the wind make no one dare stay long. This dragon has an extremely sensitive sense of smell. They can smell blood from more than 2 miles away. So hunters often use pieces of raw meat as bait, placed on dry, cracked land near water sources where they often appear. But with just one wrong move, Komodo can rush at a speed of 12 miles/hour, its bite containing venom that paralyzes the victim. Therefore, hunters always travel in groups, keep their distance, and have someone on guard above to ensure no one is suddenly attacked from behind. One tip they often remind each other is to never stand against the wind. Because if human breath is detected, the Komodo dragon will turn from the hunted to the hunter, and the chase will then have no winner. When the damage in the city gets out of control, people are forced to turn to the fields where hunting geese becomes a necessary measure. However, this is not easy because American law is very strict on licenses, allowed shooting areas, to the time and number of birds that can be hunted. With just a small violation, hunters can face fines of up to $5,000, 0 cents, or permanent license revocation. In the middle of the open field, the sound of gunfire not only means controlling nature, but also a challenge between humans and the law. What do you think about hunting to protect crops? Should it be relaxed, or should it be tightened to maintain the balance of nature? If you don't pay attention, you'll hardly feel the harshness of each bird hunting trip across miles of open fields, making travel risky. In Texas, where bird season is at its most active, hunters often travel with specially trained hunting dogs. They sniff, determine flight direction, and pick up birds that have fallen in the open fields, helping people save energy and stay safe while traveling. end the duck chaos, people are forced to head to Baton Rouge, the capital of Louisiana, where hunters plunge into the cold waters and begin their underwater hunt.
Hey! Okay. Well,
hunters estimate they increase their chances of hitting a target by 40 to 70%. The best season is migration season, from October to January, when large numbers of ducks return.
Oh, there.
However, the rewards come at the cost of sweat and risk. As low-lying boats can capsize, steps can sink knee-deep in mud, and the slightest noise or change in wind direction can ruin all plans. Are you willing to stand in the fog and wait for the birds to choose a landing spot? And that is why wolf hunting in the United States is not a hobby but a mission of survival. Wolf hunting in the United States is not spontaneous. Each state sets clear hunting seasons, which usually run from fall to early spring, with quotas and mandatory reporting to ensure that control does not disrupt natural populations. Idaho alone issues more than 180,000 hunting licenses each year, reflecting the importance of this activity in rural life. But have you ever wondered how humans maintain this delicate balance between life and destruction? Some use specially trained hunting dogs, while others rely on electronic devices that emit howling sounds to distract them. All are working toward the same goal of safely, effectively, and sustainably controlling wolf populations. But the war with wolves doesn't just happen during the day. When the sun goes down, a whole new chapter begins where humans must enter the world of the predators themselves. The darkness not only hides danger, but also exposes the chilling truth about how Americans deal with North America's most intelligent predator. Hunting at night is a whole different challenge. Wolves are primarily nocturnal, so hunters must be equipped with infrared scopes, red flashlights, and dark clothing to move in the dark without being detected. Statistics show that the number of wolves knocked down at night is twice as high as during the day. But what amazes viewers is not the number, but how they do it in absolute silence. After the quiet nights, the strategy shifts to a more discreet but equally decisive approach: trapping. Hunters and trappers scout ahead, selecting trails where wolves are known to travel. Hunters dig a small hole, just large enough to place a steel leg trap, and cover it lightly with soil so as not to disrupt the natural route. Artificial scent bait is placed strategically behind the trap to attract prey, and the trap is chained to a stake to prevent it from moving. All designs are geared toward confinement without intentionally causing serious injury, and the law requires daily trap checks to ensure prey is disposed of promptly. In Minnesota in 2023, about 30% of the controlled wolf population was captured using this method, demonstrating that when used judiciously and as prescribed, trapping is an essential complementary part of an overall management strategy to hunting. Many people ask why North America is doing this. And here's why. In Northern California, conflicts between humans and grey wolves are nothing new. Over the years, reports have been made of wolves attacking calves, goats and sheep in Lassen, Plumas and Siskiyou counties. At one point, more than 60 calves were attacked in a single winter, forcing many farmers to move their herds away from grazing areas. Although California has always protected wolves, as they have approached residential areas, local authorities have been forced to reconsider their policies. The question is no longer, can we control wolves, but when are we going to do it properly? In recent years, wild boars have moved beyond the forest to the heart of cities, posing a major threat to people and infrastructure. In just a few years, the number of wild boars in Hong Kong has exploded from a mere fringe creature to a menace. From 225 in 2011 to 1,184 in 2019. They are no longer afraid of humans. Garbage and leftover food have turned them into city dwellers. A female can give birth to 6 to 15 piglets at a time, and when food is readily available, they breed out of control. People continue to raise them, unaware that this only accelerates the urbanization of the invasive species. The government has had to impose a strict ban with fines of up to $1,275.00 for violators. But is that enough to stop this invasive species? When traditional defences are no longer effective, hunters are forced to find smarter ways to deal with them. The process begins deep in the forest, where hunters carefully set up net traps. An automated corn spreader programmed to release food at the same time every day is placed in the centre. The wild boars are habituated to return to the same feeding spot every day. following a routine they believe to be safe. When the herd regroups and begins feeding, the traps are triggered. There is no gunfire, no dangerous chasers, and no undue stress to the invasive species. Studies have shown that when wild boars are caught with minimal struggle, they are calmer, reducing the risk of injury to the hunter. In previous attempts, areas using net traps have reported a 30 to 40% reduction in agricultural damage from wild boars within a year, demonstrating its potential as a long-term solution. Wild boar hunting in the United States is not just a sport, it's a necessity. With the wild boar population increasing by 20 to 25% annually, wild boars have become one of the country's most destructive invasive species. Tonight, it's not just about hunting, it's about taking back control. Drones with infrared sensors detect wild boar movements from the sky, giving hunters precise locations. Night vision scopes enhance visibility in low light conditions, a necessity since wild boars are most active after sunset. Silenced .308 and .30 blackout rifles ensure a quick, humane knockdown with minimal disruption to surrounding wildlife. To combat the crisis, federal and state governments have relaxed regulations on wild boar hunting, recognising the need for strict controls. In many states, there are no population limits or closed hunting seasons, meaning hunters can hunt as much as they want, whenever they want. Some of the most notable policies include no licensing requirements on private land in states like Texas and Oklahoma, allowing landowners to act immediately, bounty programs in select counties, where hunters receive compensation for each wild boar taken.
Right there.
While hunting is the most effective short-term control method, conservationists emphasize the need for long-term solutions, including better habitat management and sterilization programs. Some experts argue that wild boar hunting alone is not enough. Without changing food sources and controlling reproduction, populations will recover faster than they decline. With millions of wild boars still roaming the United States, the fight is far from over. Is hunting enough to stem the crisis, or will we need stronger measures to protect our lands? What do you think? Why is coyote hunting such a big issue? It's not just about the damage. Every year they attack about 400,000 livestock. In Texas alone, their numbers have surpassed statistical limits. They are invasive survivors thriving in deserts, suburbs, and even the outskirts of cities. Texas dominates the scene with private ranch lands and a ridiculously high coyote population. However, this area isn't the best for coyote hunting due to the dense urbanization and strict local hunting regulations that limit access to certain lands. In contrast to Texas, Arizona's Santa Rita Mountains are now one of the hottest hunting spots, while Colorado's dense terrain makes it more difficult for hunters to navigate. So they've switched from traditional tracking tactics to using animal distress calls. Typically, before facing such challenging areas, hunters start in open grasslands, where coyotes are easy to track due to clear visibility. However, once in the woods, hunters have to change tactics, using distress devices to attract coyotes, which are not as effective in open fields. Comment 1 if you've heard of this tool, comment 0 if you haven't. In Colorado, coyote hunting is regulated by the Colorado Parks and Wildlife (CPW) to ensure responsible management. Coyotes are classified as non-game animals, meaning you can hunt them year-round with no bag limit. However, you'll need a small game hunting license or a fur bearer license costing around $30 for residents and $80 for non-residents.
Whoop! Whoop!
Hunting is allowed on public lands like San Isabel National Forest without landowner permission, but private land requires explicit consent. Electronic calls are permitted, but baiting is illegal. Night hunting is allowed on private land with artificial lights, but not on public land. Violating these rules can lead to fines up to $1,000 or loss of hunting privileges. Always check CPW regulations before heading out to stay legal and protect Colorado's ecosystems. Coyotes are notoriously elusive with keen senses. In Colorado's rugged terrain, landing a hit often takes multiple shots. Based on distance, wind, and coyote movement, experienced hunters report an average of 3 to 5 shots before a clean knockdown. A single well-placed shot from a .2223 rifle can drop a coyote instantly, but their erratic behavior makes this tricky. How many hunters does it take? Often just one skilled hunter can take down a coyote, especially with good optics. However, in open areas like Colorado's plains, 2 to 3 hunters working together using calls to lure and spotters to track can increase success rates by 30%. Groups are common when coyotes are near livestock, as teamwork covers more ground and reduces misses. Missing a shot in coyote hunting is common, but it can have serious consequences. A missed shot alerts the coyote, making it warier and harder to track. Coyotes learn quickly, avoiding calls or traps after a near miss, which can ruin a hunt. In Colorado, shooting near roads or homes can lead to legal penalties, especially in urban adjacent areas like Boulder County. If you miss, stay calm. Don't chase the coyote, it's likely gone. Reposition quietly, switch calls, and try again later. If a coyote acts aggressively, extremely rare but possible near urban areas. Lower your weapon, back away slowly, and avoid cornering it. To escape danger, ensure your rifle is unloaded when moving through dense areas, and always hunt with a partner in remote regions for safety. Finally, report any incidents to CPW to prevent future conflicts. So, what are your hunting tactics when coyotes are hard to catch? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel for more hunting tips and tricks. Welcome to an exciting journey to New Zealand, a land of breathtaking landscapes and unique ecosystems where trophy hunting is not just a sport, but an essential part of conservation. On this adventure, we follow a trophy hunter as he explores the Southern Alps, hunts exotic game, and rediscovers the magic of New Zealand's nature and culture. Warning, this content includes actual hunting footage, showing the raw reality of this extreme activity. New Zealand formed 45 million years ago by colliding tectonic plates. The Southern Alps rise dramatically, with Mount Cook towering at 12,139 feet. But what makes this land truly unique is its status as part of the seventh continent, 94% submerged underwater, with New Zealand's islands as its visible peaks. This isolation shaped a remarkable ecosystem. When humans arrived, they introduced animals like deer, sheep, goats, and chamois, which thrived in the rugged mountains. Over centuries, these animals went feral, creating a man-made ecosystem that requires careful management. Trophy hunting is now the primary method to regulate their populations, ensuring balance in this delicate environment. Home to the world's finest trophy deer, Himalayan tars, chamois, and wild sheep, New Zealand is a hunter's paradise. An experienced trophy hunter returns to New Zealand in 2025 for his second adventure, 16 years after his first visit in 2008. After a 23-hour journey via Dubai and Auckland, the hunter lands in Queenstown and is greeted by guide Andrew Dorsey, who plans to combine hunting with tourism. The journey takes the hunter from Queenstown to Wanaka, the gateway to chamois and ibex hunting in the Southern Alps. Alligator is supportive, hoping Sergey can get his trophy in just 2 days to allow for more sightseeing. New Zealand offers a hunting experience unlike any other, with the Southern Alps being the only place in the world where helicopter hunting is legal and mandatory. The hunter, unable to bring his rifle, opted for a 300 Win Mag provided by a local guide in Wanaka. After testing the rifle at the range, he was ready for the challenge. The first hunt was for wild sheep, descendants of domesticated flocks that had rediscovered their wild origins. Next, they pursued wild goats through thorny bushes on foot after riding an ATV. The hunter again proved his worth, spotting a buck at 459 feet and taking a precise shot to the shoulder. highlight is a thrilling helicopter hunt for an ibex. The pilot hovers over a cliff, dropping the hunter onto a narrow ledge. At 394 feet, he shoots an ibex, only to discover it has only one horn, reducing its trophy value. What do you think of this shot? Was it a calculated shot? Trophy hunting in New Zealand is not only about adventure, but also about conservation. By managing introduced species populations, hunters help protect native ecosystems, including the iconic kiwi bird, a distant relative of the extinct moa. New Zealand's commitment to wildlife conservation, combined with its landscape, makes it a must-see destination for adventurers and nature lovers. Hunters' journeys are filled with thrills, nostalgia and camaraderie, and promise to be even more rewarding as they set out to hunt Himalayan ibex and a more beautiful chamois trophy. Louisiana is a mysterious swamp where the darkest, most invasive species lurk. It is home to more than 2 million American crocodiles, and each year more than 400 crocodile invasions occur in yards, pools and streets, terrifying residents. A 12-foot crocodile is strong enough to take down a full-grown wild boar in seconds. Imagine opening your door and finding it lying on your lawn. In 2024, a 1,200-pound crocodile attacked a trainer in Baton Rouge during a performance, but was saved by a quick-reacting audience member. The woman was rushed to the hospital.
She's dead.
To protect yourself and your family, never feed crocodiles, as this will cause them to lose their fear of humans. Always maintain a safe distance of at least 50 feet. And erect a 5-foot fence around ponds to discourage trespassing. In response, more than 10,000 permits are issued each year to manage the booming population of the ancient predator, because if left unchecked, the balance will be upset. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, LDWF, urges residents to call 1800 442 2511 if an crocodile gets too close.
Get him again. Go.
When the hunt begins, it's our responsibility to protect the habitat. Usual crocodile hunting season runs from August to November, and every hunter knows it takes skill and guts. But the real challenge comes from long-range rifle hunting. Crocodiles lie sunk on muddy banks or drift just beneath the surface of still water. One bad shot, one misstep, and you're face to face with a 1,000-pound ancient predator. In 2023, Louisiana hunters removed over 9,000 crocodiles, reducing human-wildlife conflicts by 35%. Calls about crocodiles invading yards and pools dropped from over 450 to under 300. All crocodiles captured must be reported to LDWF for population control. This is not just about hunting, it is about protecting people, livestock, and the delicate balance of wild. Have you ever hunted a crocodile longer than 12 feet? Comment below about how you felt. Also, in the heart of the Louisiana swamps, you need to stay calm. When confronted with a crocodile, covering its eyes can quickly diffuse the situation. This simple action taps into the crocodile's instincts, often causing it to remain calm and less aggressive. But this is only a temporary measure, and it gives the hunter enough time to deal with the situation in the short term. Every shot, every hunt matters. What do you think about the challenges facing farmers and hunters in America? If given the chance, would you join the fight? In Austin, Texas, wild boars have become a nightmare for locals. In just 1 year, there have been more than 70 recorded incidents of them entering residential areas, destroying gardens, tearing up lawns, and causing tens of millions of dollars in damage. There have been cases of wild boars attacking humans. Fortunately, they were all safe and taken to the hospital in time. However, these signs do not seem to be effective. The government has deployed security forces to drive them away, but the invasive species quickly evades them and continues to attack the city. And that's why the series of photos, top 30 shots of American hunters, will bring you the most impressive moments. In response, Texas hunters have turned to tracking devices that are more effective than traditional methods. Under infrared lenses, dark figures move in herds. Operating these devices requires special skills and licenses, because the operator must understand flight rules, restricted areas, and how to read heat maps accurately. Previously, farmers had to rely on ground tracks or tree cameras. This technology saves hunters time searching for invasive species in difficult terrain. When you enter any invasive species hunting area in Texas, you must complete a firearms training course held several months before the hunting season. This training covers essential techniques such as maintaining a flexible stance with your feet shoulder width apart and leaning your weight slightly forward to absorb recoil. Hunters also learn how to adjust the tension on their slings and practice shooting with their eyes down to fine-tune their stance. Winter hunting in Texas is not for the faint of heart. Hunters in wild boar hunting do not get to choose their hunting grounds and are limited to designated areas where wildlife populations need to be controlled, such as brush or rugged mountain terrain. In the winter, temperatures can drop as low as 30 DGF, turning muddy trails into slippery obstacles that make travel difficult. That's why teamwork is essential.
Shoot.
While watching this video, did you notice any unusual hunting signs or tactics? Leave a comment below and share your observations about hunting invasive species. Night hunting in Texas takes the challenge to a whole new level, especially as winter shifts to late night hunts. Hunters travel 30 to 50 miles from city limits to minimize noise and maximize efficiency. The goal? Target destructive wild boars while minimizing disruption to nearby residents. Texas regulations prohibit the use of artificial lights near residential areas for safety reasons. Hunters must wear reflective gear at night to stay visible to their teammates while blending into the terrain. It is not uncommon to see giant wild boars weighing over 300 pounds emerging from the darkness in search of food. Also, the season for hunting wild boar by helicopter is a special mission. This unique method requires a permit and is limited to 2 or 3 hunters per flight for safety reasons. From above, chaos ensues as wild boars scatter across the field. You choose wild boar hunting from above or from the ground. The hunt doesn't end when the last shot is fired. Hunters in Texas face an important and often overlooked responsibility of collecting wild boar carcasses. Left to decompose, these carcasses release harmful bacteria that contaminate soil and water supplies, attract scavengers and spread disease. And hunting over the legal limit can result in fines of up to $500, 0 cents per violation in Texas. Today's wild boar hunting was all about protecting the land where you live. What did you think of today's hunt? Did you notice any key moments or tactics that stood out? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. In Kenya, the first wave of chaos began. Thousands of baboons swept through farmlands, ripping roofs, shattering windows, and stealing stored food in broad daylight. Within minutes, a single raid can wipe out up to 87% of a farmer's harvest, leaving families on the edge of collapse. During droughts, desperation grows. Baboons break into homes, overturn trash bins, and cause hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage every year. For farmers, survival now depends on precision and discipline. Many turn to bow hunting, not for sport, but for protection. It's a method that requires silence, skill, and deep understanding of animal behavior. Baboons are no easy prey, their vision is sharp, their teamwork impeccable. Each troop moves with scouts, guards, and attackers, all guided by instinct and intelligence. Hunters must track them for days, watching, listening, memorizing every route from cliffside dens to maize fields. Even a single shift of wind can betray a hunter's position. Success lies in patience, waiting under trees, blending into shadows, drawing the bow only when a clean, humane shot is guaranteed. To increase their chances of success, hunters sometimes use bait tactics, placing fruit or corn for several days to lure baboons back. Some choose higher terrain, quietly perching on tree branches where movement cannot be seen. But the battle in Africa doesn't end there. To restore safety, the South African government introduced controlled hunting programs, licensing professional hunters, such as Peter Asis, a veteran tracker with decades of field experience. Peter's team uses high-caliber rifles like the .375 H&H Magnum, .450 Webash Winchester Magnum, equipped with Loophole VX3 or Trijicon ACOG scopes. These hunts are carried out under strict supervision, involving 4 to 5 members hunters, trackers and licensed clients. Permits cost between $5,000 0 cents and $20,000 0 cents, with a portion of that money reinvested into community development and wildlife conservation. For local trackers, this isn't just work, it's heritage. Despite controversy, controlled hunting remains one of the most effective methods for maintaining ecological balance. The funds support schools, create rural jobs, and protect remaining habitats. Yet the question lingers, are we truly conserving nature, or simply managing our guilt? Critics warn that targeting dominant males could weaken lion genetics, risking lower fertility and resilience across future generations. In the suburbs, local wildlife officers are now facing a new kind of challenge: urban trapping. No guns, no violence, just precision, patience, and respect. They deploy large steel cage traps designed for strength. These traps are not meant to harm, but to provide safe confinement, allowing officers to capture and relocate animals without causing injury. Each morning, officers inspect the traps placed near garbage sites and abandoned lots, where baboons most often appear. When a trap is triggered, the animal is never left long inside. Teams respond quickly, covering the cage with canvas to calm the primate before transporting it to the nearest wildlife station. There, veterinarians check for stress or injuries, tag the animal for tracking, and plan its relocation deep within protected reserves. This method reflects a quiet truth: urban conflict isn't solved by force, but by understanding. Locals are taught to secure trash bins, remove outdoor food, and avoid any confrontation. Education becomes as vital as the steel trap itself, because every capture is a lesson about coexistence, not conquest. Wild hogs are considered an invasive species that can cause a lot of damage and are notorious for destroying crops. In the north, they can affect the food chain from berry orchards to large mammals. Locals call them ecological trains for their indiscriminate appetite. They will eat the eggs of any ground nesting bird. They will attack adults if they can, which they often do, and in the spring they will eat thousands of goslings, ducklings, and other ground nesting birds. They will harm anything, even a mature white-tailed deer. It was this uncontrolled destruction that forced people to take action. They built a whole system of trapping, hunting and processing, turning what was once a threat into an industry worth more than $100 million. Why do I say that? Let's find out with me. This time, cage traps were chosen, silent weapons in the war between man and beast. They were metal fences, carefully engineered systems to fool one of the most cunning creatures on American soil. Each cage was made from large, 16-foot long panels of welded wire mesh that formed a perfect circle of control. The circle prevented pigs from congregating or escaping, while the open roof allowed non-target animals to escape unharmed. But building such a trap is no easy task. Each T-post must be driven deep into the hard Texas soil, tied with thick wire strong enough to withstand the wrath of a 200-pound wild hog. One misplaced post, one loose knot, and the night hunt is doomed. Building these traps is part engineering, part endurance, and all determination. But the trap doesn't always win. In Texas, they say, once a wild hog learns, it never forgets. It remembers bad experiences and recognizes danger after just one encounter. Sometimes, if the trapper hastily activates the trap before the herd enters, the rest will scatter and never return. It's a mistake that many farmers overlook. To deal with the wild hog's increasing agility, Texans have had to change their entire strategy. Before setting the traps for real, farmers often familiarise the herd by leaving bait in the traps without triggering them for days, making them believe the place is safe. When the time comes, the herd enters and the door slams shut in silence. But the hog's wariness never goes away. So the traps are moved periodically, changing location after each catch to break their avoidance habits. Captured boars are transported to USDA-approved facilities where processing adheres to strict humane standards. Each animal is tested for diseases like brucellosis and pseudorabies to ensure biosecurity. Workers handle each animal individually, as wild boar meat is firmer and has less fat than domestic boars. The carcasses are given traceability codes, deep frozen and prepared for the global supply chain. From muddy fields to cold steel mills, humans turn chaos into order. Wild boar meat is processed into salami, bacon, canned goods, exported to New York, Paris, Tokyo. The invasive species, now providing new livelihoods, is a symbol of human adaptability and creativity in the face of wild nature. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, wild boar meat contains only about 3% fat, is rich in protein, iron and omega-3s, and is considered a clean, sustainable and premium meat. Wild boar meat is priced 30 to 50% higher than farmed pork, becoming a natural luxury in large restaurants. That is how the United States turned an ecological hazard into a hugely profitable export industry. Komodo dragons are more than just a relic of prehistoric times. They're equipped with shark-like teeth and venom powerful enough to knock down a human in just a few hours. For generations, villagers lived alongside them without fear. Until the attacks started. A fisherman and many others were attacked in 2007, turning the quiet Indonesian islands into a place of terror. The 10-foot-long, 150-pound creatures roam the last 700 square miles of their wild habitat on Komodo and Rinca. When a wild dragon gets out of hand, a trained hunter must step in. And in this episode, you'll witness the insane, heart-stopping moment a dangerous predator is taken down with pinpoint shots that decide the fate of an entire community. First, we must learn about the important thing. What weapon is needed to take down a Komodo dragon to ensure the safety of the hunter? The rangers know that just one miss will be fatal because the Komodo dragon's venom will take down its prey in a few days. Will the shot be powerful enough to stop this prehistoric creature? The Komodo dragon's hunting strategy is not random. It is a calculated ambush strategy in the arid terrain of the Rinca Islands. The optimal strategy to find their prey within a few hours is a combination of patience and scent detection. Komodo dragons often hide near animal trails or water sources where they can lie still for hours. Without this ambush strategy, would the Komodo dragon be successful? Probably not, as it is not fast enough to chase large prey like Timor deer or water buffalo for a long time. The ambush strategy helps them conserve energy and allows them to use their most powerful weapon, a surprise shot. Behind the sensationalism of these encounters is a little known fact, that those who have to face the giant Komodo dragon directly are not only fighting danger, but also the degrading environment. Harsh terrain, inaccessible jungles and streams polluted by waste have created disease hotspots, making every mission even more unpredictable. Conservationists understand the price to pay when humans intervene incorrectly, especially using bait to lure Komodo dragons. That seemingly harmless action completely destroys their natural hunting instincts, making this ancient animal dependent on humans and losing its ability to survive. If you learned something here, please share it below. Maybe it will be the answer that matches our channel. Komodo dragons have been responsible for a series of attacks, forcing a hunter to step in to prevent further disaster. But when the shots rang out, a chilling truth emerged. Hunting only solves the moment, not the future. In the wild there are only about 3,000 to 3,500 individuals, and the adult Komodo dragon population is only about 1,400, with fewer than 400 breeding females. They grow slowly, taking 7 to 10 years to reach reproductive age, and only a small fraction of each clutch of eggs survives. So every individual taken down, even when forced to protect humans, is a heavy loss for the species. Timely hunting can save a village, but overhunting can cause an entire species to go extinct. Is this true or false? What is your choice? While the world worries about the 30 million wild boars, in Florida the story is different and more subtle. Florida boars, typically smaller but harder thanks to their adaptations to swamps and quicksand, have turned the state into a major battleground. They have not only hit cornfields, but also beaches, sea turtle sanctuaries, and million-dollar golf courses. They have caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage and destroyed the already fragile Everglades ecosystem. What makes them invincible in Florida is not their ferocity, but their ability to use the terrain to defeat even the most advanced steel traps. To stop the wild hogs from causing harm, Florida hunters used giant steel traps. But what went wrong? The first and most fatal mistake in Florida was not the size of the traps, but the placement of the traps on unstable ground. Standard steel cage traps weighing hundreds of pounds were often planted in swamp mud. Despite being reinforced with bolts, Florida wild hogs quickly learned to use centrifugal force and their body weight to stir up the soil at the base of the traps. When trapped and panicked, the hogs would dig and stampede in unison at the same spot near the door, causing the traps to wobble in the soft ground. As little as 4 to 8 inches of space between the wire mesh and the ground was enough for the small hogs to escape. These escaped hogs brought with them experience that made the herd wary of any structure. And it was this lesson that prompted Florida trappers to seek a completely new solution. But what has helped Florida trappers optimize their effectiveness in this challenging, wet environment? The answer lies in their special bait. Instead of just using traditional fermented corn, they use fish oil aromatic bait, a mixture of corn, yeast, and marine fish oil. The strong scent not only spreads in the humid air but also lingers in water and mud, attracting warthogs from a long distance, even when they are hiding in the swamp. More importantly, the trappers do not rush to close the trap when only 70 to 90% of the herd has entered. They patiently wait for the most alert female to be completely absorbed in foraging in the center of the trap for at least 15 minutes. Only when the lead is distracted will the remote control gate be activated, ensuring the entire herd is captured without leaving any that have learnt to escape. making this tactic a golden trap closing point in the war against Florida warthogs. After the trap gate is locked, the transport phase is a major challenge, requiring a 1-hour response to control the panicked boar. A specialized steel-reinforced trailer is pulled alongside and the hunting team begins creating coercion corridors with movable barriers. They never enter the trap. Instead, they use loud noises to herd small groups of boars into the trailer, always focused on controlling the dominant mother boar. Once everyone is safely inside, the trailer is triple bolted and quickly removed from the forest. It is a stressful transition, introducing this biological threat into the commercial supply chain. Instead of being culled as in many other US states, the boars are moved to safe breeding farms that strictly adhere to food safety standards to become commercial products. This is the first step in the process of transforming wild animals into elite, opening a closed supply chain that turns the pests into valuable resources. To meet the high-end market demand, these farms are designed in a semi-wild model. They are pens on vast grasslands, simulating the natural habitat as much as possible. This arrangement helps reduce stress on wild boars, ensuring they grow healthily and the meat quality is of the highest standard. The crossbred boars are fed natural foods such as grass, tubers, combined with traditional herbs instead of using antibiotics in mass production, bringing a distinctive organic wild flavour, rich in nutrients and delicious. As they mature, the meat from these hybrid boars becomes a premium product that sells for 3 times the price of regular domestic pork. They appear not only in traditional dishes, but also in wild bacon and luxury salami, creating a multi-billion-dollar premium meat industry that is a classic example of turning a biological threat into a valuable economic resource. Back in 1994, few would have guessed that black bears were on the brink of catastrophic decline. Deforestation, rampant urbanization, and rampant hunting had reduced their numbers so rapidly that ecologists warned of local extinction in some states. But nature always heals. Today, the black bear population in North America has grown to more than 600,000, with Montana becoming one of the continent's largest bear capitals. This dramatic comeback is a reminder that any balance comes at a cost. Each year, bear raids on food stocks, homes and farms cost an estimated $154 million. 0 cents. Forest communities in Montana, Idaho and Colorado are feeling the pressure. As bears lose their wariness of humans, in an effort to reduce conflict, many areas have historically used bow and arrow hunting, baiting and scent baiting, hoping to displace bears from human settlements and release them back into the deep woods. However, these methods have proven less effective. In heavily forested areas like the Appalachians and northern Wisconsin, bears have become smarter. Many also disagree that the draw weight required to ethically take down an adult black bear, typically between 65 and 75 pounds, pushes many hunters beyond their physical limits, especially in the cold season. The dense forest means that shots are often less than 20 yards apart, forcing hunters to stay dangerously close to a bear that can close in on them in seconds. Add to that unpredictable winds, low light conditions, and the bear's natural instinct to hide, and bow hunting becomes less a method of control and more a test of endurance, where one mistake can cost far more than a failed harvest. The reality in the woods is that black bears are overcoming many of the old control measures, and so controlled hunting has become a more proactive and effective option. Both veteran hunters and ecologists agree that a proactive, flexible and sustainable approach is needed to reduce pressure on forest-bound communities. When you're out there chasing a black bear, the truth hits fast. Nothing about this comes easy. You're tracking an animal that can hit 35 mit and push 600 pounds. Yet your odds of a successful harvest sit at barely 10% across most states. Wow! Your heartbeat turns into a war drum. One shot, one breath, one moment that decides everything. And when that massive bear finally drops, the whole forest goes silent, and you realize you didn't just take the shot, you became one of the few hunters who make that 1 in 10 count. Bear hunting, however, remains a hotly contested topic. One side argues that it is a practical way to reduce conflict, generate revenue for conservation, and maintain ecological balance.
Team down, team down.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other side advocates non-lethal options such as relocation, limiting bear attraction through food protection, or birth control programs. And perhaps the most important question is not whether we should hunt or not, but how do we maintain the delicate balance on which we all depend? We start at dawn in a climate-controlled 2,000 sow barn in central Illinois. The lights go on at 5:30 am-ing, and the ventilation system brings in fresh air and keeps the environment stable so the pigs don't get stressed. Each pig has an RFID tag that records all of its activity and any unusual changes. This data allows farmers to spot problems early and control disease more effectively. When a sensor in pen 14 detects a decrease in activity, the veterinarian is notified immediately. This is how a modern farm operates, to ensure the efficiency and safety of the herd. Feeding happens 3 times a day through automated troughs. The ration is ground corn, soybean meal, dried plasma, vitamins and minerals, mixed fresh in an on-site mill and tested for salmonella and mold toxins. One bad batch can cost $1 million, so every truckload gets sampled. Breeding takes place in a separate quiet room where artificial insemination is the norm. One elite boar can sire 1,000 piglets a year this way, passing on genes for fast growth, strong immunity and well-marbled meat. Sows deliver in individual farrowing crates designed to protect fragile newborns. Heat lamps keep the piglets at 90 degrees, while the mum stays comfortable at 68. Within hours of birth, each piglet gets iron shots, tail docking if the farm follows that protocol, and a numbered tag. Disease prevention is non-negotiable. Vaccinations for PRRS, circovirus and mycoplasma are scheduled like clockwork. When one group ships to the finisher, the entire room is power washed, disinfected and dried for 48 hours before the next batch arrives. Biosecurity means boot dips, shower and shower protocols, and no outside visitors without a 24-hour quarantine. Have you ever skipped any of these steps and made mistakes? When the pigs hit market weight, around 280 pounds at 6 months old, they're loaded gently into aluminum trailers with misters, fans and bedding.
He's being a water hog. Get out of here.
Drivers are certified in livestock transport. No journey exceeds 8 hours. At the plant 2 hours away, the trailer backs into a climate-controlled dock. Pigs walk off on their own into holding pens with water sprinklers. Stress is the enemy. Calm animals mean better meat quality. Inside the 150,000 square foot federally inspected facility, the line churns through 150 pigs an hour. The first stop is a 90-second humane treatment. Next, the carcass is placed in a 140-degree hot water bath to loosen the hair, which mechanical paddles scrape off in seconds. The carcass is split down the middle. Every part is cleaned and inspected by the USDA. A lymph node swells and the entire carcass is sent to the processing plant, no exception. When an animal is handled properly, the entire process behind it is aimed at protecting the health of consumers. After cleaning, the meat must be immediately sent to a deep freeze room to cool down quickly, as any delay can give bacteria a chance to flourish. The meat is cut on a clean stainless steel surface, vacuum packed and attached with a QR code to trace its origin. Food safety inspectors are on duty every shift, and their check marks are a reminder that this care is not a formality but a shield to protect public health. But what about us? When we buy and process meat every day, do we really care about its origin? Or do we just unconsciously believe that it's probably okay? The people make it work. Line workers start at $22.00 an hour with full benefits. Many have been cutting pork for decades. Farmers attend monthly training on new tech and welfare standards. Challenges are real. Feed prices swing with corn futures, labour shortages hit rural plants, and African swine fever looms as a constant threat. Farms fight back with precision feeding to cut waste, cover crops to hold soil, and employee housing to keep staff.
These approaches have been great at stopping the spread of some invasive species. Got any ideas for even better solutions? Drop your thoughts in the comments so we can all dive into it together. Thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And hey, be sure to tell your friends about us too so they can check it out. Bye and see you in the next video.